Hello, this is Sahana back with part 2 of Mendelian genetics. We'll be dealing with monohybrid cross today. So, the cross between two plants involving the analysis of only one trait is called monohybrid cross. So, here to carry out monohybrid cross, Mendel chose a true breeding tall pea plant and a true breeding dwarf pea plant, which means the pure lines were selected. Here, the letter capital T and small t were used to represent the alleles of the gene that determine the height of the plants. Here, by convention, the uppercase letter represents the dominant allele and the lowercase letter represents the recessive allele. Here, the plants are pure lines, I told you. So, the true breeding plants, it's like the tall plants are homozygous for the dominant allele capital T, and the dwarf plants were homozygous for the dwarf allele small t. So here Mendel, he tracked each of these traits through 2 generations. So this is how a typical genetic cross look like. The parental generation, this is the parental generation, this is the phenotype of the parents, and this is the genotype of the parents. These are the gametes that have been formed, and this is F1 generation, the genotype of F1 generation and the phenotype of F1 generation. We'll call these offsprings as hybrids. And then this is self-crossing the F1 hybrids, so they act as F2 parents. Okay, and this is the gamete formation again, and this is a F2 generation offspring, which we represent by using a Punnett square. Punnett square is proposed by Reginald C. Punnett. It is because to predict all the possibility of the offsprings that can appear in the F2 generation. So here the genetic constitution of gametes of one parent is taken above, and the genetic constitution of gametes of other parent is taken on either, on any one side. So in these boxes we'll write the genetic constitution of the zygote or offspring, and we'll give the phenotypic ratio and genotypic ratio. Phenotypic ratio is the one which is the physical appearance of the offspring, and genetic ratio is the genetic constitution. Now, so in Mendel's monohybrid cross, a cross between true breeding tall plant and true breeding dwarf plant were crossed, okay, or a cross between these two are made, which yield all the hybrids as phenotypically tall plants. So now the reason why the hybrids were all tall, though the parents were of two types, the parents were of tall and dwarf, but the hybrids of F1 generation were only tall. Now why this happens can be understood by this step. Okay, so what's happening here? Meiosis happening, which is a reductional cell division, and then this is the gamete formation. At the time of gamete formation, the members of these gene pair, that is each of these allele, separate from each other, and the chromosome number here is also reducing it in to its half when it comes to the gamete here. Now the pair of gene that is present in the homologous loci separates from each other, so that the gamete has only one gene in it. Okay, so the same thing is happening in dwarf parent also. So the gametes are produced here, and then when the plants with these genetic constitutions are crossed, the offsprings get the capital T from one parent and the small t from one parent. Now all the hybrid plants of F1 generation are now heterozygous with the genotype capital T and small t, and all these hybrid plants of F1 generation are tall also. They are phenotypically tall, which is similar to the pure breeding parent, but the only difference here is they are of different genotypes. So what can we infer through this? Though the phenotypic characters are same, their genetic constitution may differ. right? When these plants of F1 generation were allowed to self-pollinate, what happens? That the both tall and dwarf plants appears in second generation. Okay, so it is evident that the F1 generation are all tall, but how come it happens to appear both tall and dwarf plants here is the character of tallness here. See, in F1 generation, it has both the alleles, the allele that can impart the tallness, and the allele that can give the dwarfness to the plant. Both are present, but still only one character appeared here. That is the tall character. So we can infer that the character that appeared in the F1 generation, irrespective of the other allele, is called the tall. That is the dominant character, and the character which did not appear in the F1 generation is called the recessive character. Okay, so what's happening here? The capital T or the dominant allele concealed or suppressed the activity of the recessive gene. So here only the tall hybrids were present, and when these two were self-crossed, see, the gamete formation happened here. One of these allele went to the one gamete, and this has appeared in the other gamete. So what happened here? The gametes are pure here. This gamete has a gene for tallness, and this gamete has a gene for dwarfness. When these were crossed here, there is one homozygous tallness, and there are heterozygous tallness of 2, and then a single dwarf plant. Why did this dwarf plant occur? Though it is recessive, in the absence of dominant gene, it expressed itself in the second generation. That is how we got phenotypic ratio 3:1, and then genotypic ratio 1:2:1. Phenotypic ratio, that is 3 tall and 1 dwarf, and genotypic ratio 1 tall, that is 1 homozygous tall, 2 heterozygous tall, and 1 homozygous dwarf plant. So based on this monohybrid cross, Mendel formulated law of dominance and law of segregation. So what is this law of dominance? This law states that in a heterozygous condition, the allele whose character are expressed over the other allele is called dominant allele, and the character of this dominant allele is called dominant character, and the character that appear in F1 generation are called dominant characters. Yes, and the recessive character does not appear in the F1 generation, or that will be appeared only in the F2 generation. See, as we can see here, at the time of gamete formation, there is a gene for pure tallness, and this is a gene for dwarfness, and in F1 generation, though both are present, only dominant allele expresses its character, whereas the recessive character is suppressed in F1 generation. So the F1 hybrid became tall, and when this is further crossed in F2 generation, as we discussed here, with in the absence of tall gene, the recessive gene expressed itself in F2 generation. So that is the law of dominance of genes. And the second law that Mendel proposed was, or postulated was, law of segregation. So this law states that each individual possess 2 alleles for a particular character. So what happens here is 2 alleles irutte, and then at the time of formation of gametes, alleles separate from each other, so that each gamete carries only one allele. Okay, so this is a particular gene, and these are pair of alleles, and then at the time of gamete formation here, in a homologous pair of chromosomes, this particular allele separate from each other. They don't mix up when they come to the gametes. Each gamete has either this T or this T. They are not there is no mixing up of alleles here. So the gametes are always pure, either with the dominant allele or with the recessive anil. That is what the law of segregation states. This law can also be told as law of purity of gametes. And then there is a monohybrid backcross, which is defined as the crossing of F1 progeny back with one of the parents is called backcross. It can be either with the dominant parent or the recessive parent. So there are two types of monohybrid backcross. One is dominant backcross and the recessive backcross. So what is this dominant backcross? See, when the F1 hybrids are crossed back with dominant parent, it is called dominant backcross. Okay, so here there is the F1 hybrid that is crossed back with the dominant parent. So here gamete formation, this is homozygous for this homozygous tall plant with both the alleles as dominant T, and F1 hybrids, as we know, it is heterozygous with one small t and one capital T. So when the gamete is formed, here only one type of gametes are formed, that is with only capital T, whereas in F1 hybrid there are two types of gametes that is formed, that is one gamete with capital T and one gamete with small t. So when the offsprings are produced here, all are tall here. Okay, so the phenotypic ratio is like it is 100%, all the offsprings are tall, whereas the genotypes are different, but the phenotypic ratio is 100%, that is both are tall. Now what happens in recessive backcross is, it is a cross between F1 parent, F1 hybrid and the recessive parent. Okay, the cross between the F1 hybrid back with the recessive parent, this is called recessive backcross. In this particular cross, what happens is the dwarf parent produces only one type of gamete here, that is small t, whereas as seen before, the F1 hybrid produces two types of genes here, capital T and two types of gametes, that is capital T and small t. So when the offsprings are produced, there are two types of offsprings, that is one is tall, heterozygous tall, and the others are homozygous dwarf. Okay, the dwarf side is always homozygous. So the ratio of this particular backcross, recessive backcross, will be 1:1. That is 50% of the progenies produced are tall and 50% of the progenies that are produced are dwarf. So this helps to identify the heterozygosity of the hybrid. So we can tell that the hybrid that is produced is that is produced in the F1 generation in monohybrid cross is heterozygous. So the other one is monohybrid test cross. Okay, this is the crossing of dominant offspring back with recessive parent. Okay, it is called test cross. This is much like recessive backcross. Okay, even in recessive backcross we crossed F1 hybrids with the recessive parent. Even in monohybrid test cross we are crossing F1 hybrids back with the recessive parent. So monohybrid test cross can also be called as recessive backcross. So this test cross is actually done to see if the offsprings are homozygous or heterozygous. See, in this there are two particular scenarios. See, here in this first scenario, if the hybrids or if the offsprings are homozygous, that is capital Y and capital Y agate. So here all the possible offsprings are of one type. Okay, they are all dominant. Here it is yellow seed and green seed. Yellow is the dominant seed type and the green color is the recessive gene seed type. So here when these two are crossed, this is a recessive parent and this is a F1 hybrid. In case if this was dominant, okay, homozygous dominant, we would take capital Y here. So it happens to, we happen to see all the genes, all the offsprings are all the offsprings are dominant. So we can tell that if all the offsprings or progenies of the test cross is dominant, we can tell that the particular F1 hybrid is homozygous. What if the F1 hybrids are heterozygous? This is another scenario here. This is capital Y and this is small y. This will be small y. That is how we get the heterozygous yellow fruit or yellow seed. That is the F1 hybrid. So what happens there is, in that case, 50% of progenies are yellow seed and 50% of the progenies are green seed. Okay, so we'll have the 1:1 ratio here. So all the progenies of this test cross are in 1:1 ratio. That is 50% of them are in dominant character and 50% of them are in recessive character. So this particular genotype of test plant is heterozygous. So this test plant is heterozygous. Okay, so this is about the monohybrid test cross. So this is about the monohybrid cross of Mendel, and then we'll be back with the dihybrid cross in next video. Thank you.